Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? I'm so pumped today. It's Monday, back-to-back weeks. We got part two, man. I feel like the yin and the yang of the 49ers cutback. Alex, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, John. Man, this is great to be on here with you. We've had you on a few times, and you've been trying. You've been trying to get us to come on, and we've been busy as all heck, schedules all over the place, and finally able to sit down and finally get some dates together. And this is exciting. I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
I love it, man. And, you know, we had on the other one, Ant from the 49ers cutback last Monday. We got Alex on this week. And again, I think I've said this 4 or 5 times on the show. I listen to y'all show probably more than any other 49ers content that's out there right now. I appreciate what you guys do. And for all the people at home, okay, Alex, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're going to be talking 49ers OLine, depth chart, running game, lots of other stuff. Going to get off topic a little bit. But before we do, Alex, if there is somebody that is watching this that has not subscribed to you guys, please let them know where they can find y'all.
Okay, so first and foremost, the easiest way is right here on YouTube, 49ers Cutback. That's the easiest way to find us and watch all the stuff that we put out, both Ant and myself. You can find us on Twitter, on any of the socials at 49ers Cutback. It's always the same. There's nothing crazy. No 49ers Cutback _, no 49ers _Cutback. It's all clean. We got to it first before anybody else, which is great. Those are the two main spots. And then any of the traditional podcast platforms, Spotify, you have your Apple Pods, your Google Pods, your iHeartRadios, wherever you listen to traditional podcasts. You can find us there too, 49ers Cutback. Super easy and simple. It's 2 words. It's right there on the screen. You'll see it the whole episode. That's the good news.
I love it. I love it. Oh, we got a gift here. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate your generosity. He says, Alejandro in Juan equals a goat emoji. I appreciate that. What says a lot when a guy has like, you know, an awesome guitar in his like avatar picture. Like It ups the coolness factor.
It does.
Just a little bit. I love it. Oh, Shot Jay, what's up, man? He says Rush and Cutback, late birthday. Dude, happy birthday, Shot Jay. How'd I miss that one, man? You're a good dude, man. I apologize about that. Appreciate all you do. So here we go. Let's jump into some talk here because here's the issue. And the funny thing is, I know you played wide receiver.
Sure.
I wanted you to break down the O-line because I got Ant to do the wide receivers, which I wanted to kind of cross it up a little bit.
Hey, you definitely crossed it up. When I saw the episode, I was watching, I was laughing because an Ant saw, hey, he wants to work with you, and he told me O-line. And I was like, I see what he did there.
Exactly. Because I know what you think about the other ones. This is selfish. This is for me.
I don't know if it's not selfish. I mean, you're making us work here for, and I appreciate it. No, the O-line is an interesting situation, right? Because with the 49ers and the O-line, number one, you have a young rookie quarterback coming in, so the importance there predicated upon being able to protect Trey, right? Give him his best look, give him the best opportunity to feel comfortable his first full year as a starter. Ideally, that's what we're all thinking is going to be happening. You would think you would want a more solidified O-line. You might have wanted to spend the money on Laken Tomlinson, right? Make sure that you have him and Trent together and go from there. And that's not what they did, like not at all. And this now goes back all the way to training camp last year, in which Ant and I both were sitting there at camp watching stuff going down and being like, hey, you know what? I think we're pretty comfortable here that Colton McKivitz is making the 53-man roster and Tom Compton's on the outs. And then 2 days before cuts are supposed to be made, Tom Compton's playing right tackle and Colton McKivitz is playing guard. And we're sitting there going, what's happening here? Are they just
I remember cussing out loud several times in a row when I saw that. I was just like, man, Tom Compton's going to make this roster, isn't he?
It was one of those things where I looked at it and I was like, could Tom Compton really make this roster as the backup right tackle? Like, do we really think that? And I don't. And then it happened. So it's got me thinking, right? Like the 49ers must feel very strongly about a few of these guys that either 49ers fans or even us, like you, myself, and just don't feel that way about. First and foremost, I think Daniel Brunskill is beloved by that coaching staff. I really, really do. I think they value the versatility that he has, his ability to play tackle if they need him to, his ability to play guard the way he has, specifically against Aaron Donald, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that when Aaron Donald lines up across from him, he's borderline a Hall of Famer. And if it's anyone not named Aaron Donald, you're sitting there going, what's happening? Like what happened? I don't understand it. I don't get it.
One of my favorite press conference clips was when Kyle Shanahan was asked about Aaron Banks. He's like, oh, Aaron Banks was ready to start, halfway through last year, but it's not like anybody can just beat Daniel Brunskill. And it was just like, well, I like Brunskill. And I think that now he's like a seasoned vet for this line and kind of a leader. But yeah, let's not play here. He's
inconsistent.
He's not who Kyle Shanahan thinks he is, right?
No, he's who he thinks he is against Aaron Donald. That's it. It is the only guy he shows up consistently against on film. It is nuts. I watched the Week 18 of the Rams game back. The few times that Aaron Donald would either stunt or just line straight up on Brunskill stifled him. Even if it was one-on-one or even if there was help, Donald did nothing. And then they put Joe Schmo nobody in the rotation for the Rams out there, and he'd get bullied and pushed back into the quarterback. And Garoppolo's, taking his second step in his drop and tripping over himself. And it's like, what is happening? So I do think they're big on Brunskill. I don't know whether or not they believe he's going to be transitioning into center or not. I'm not sold on this idea of Jake Brendel being the answer. But then again, I wasn't sold on Tom Compton being a viable, sustainable, have any sort of success piece last year, and he got us through the end of the season. So,
well, the last roster cut last year in 2021, they kept Compton and cut Brendel, and then they moved. Was it Maurice Hurst to IR, and then brought Brendel back like immediately on the very first day of waivers. So, like again, the Compton feel, you and I are simpatico on that one, and that still hurt me. But then he came in and played Mcglinchey-esque. It wasn't a very big drop-off whenever he came in. He had some bad reps, there's no doubt, but
especially in pass sets. The pass pro was not a strength. Again, that's not a Mcglinchey strength either, right? It's not a Mcglinchey strength either. So the O-line is one of those weird things because you have a wonderful, amazing. There's not enough words to describe what Trent Williams is, right? There's just really not. It's like this beautiful concoction of size, speed, athleticism, and just
he's a mutant.
He really is. Like there's nothing like him, and I don't think we'll ever see. I don't know if I'll ever see anything like this ever again. It's freakish what this man can do and how dominant he is doing it, even when he's not 100%. It's crazy.
Even just his press conference, like when he just sits there and it's just like, this guy's different. Even whenever he's like, I feel that way about Bosa whenever he's up there. I feel that way about Trent whenever he's up there. I don't really get that feeling of just like, I guess awe is the right word, or just like, damn, I really don't want to fight this man. Not that I'm like a aggressive guy, but I see those guys and I'm just like, I don't want to. Like
no part of it. Like zero part of it.
I guess Kinlaw physically fits into that category a little bit as well.
Last year, at training camp, when he was out there on the sidelines he's literally doing standing broad jumps before going out to do reps for drills. And I'm watching just how big he is and then how high he's getting up in the air and coming down. And I'm just like, if you stay healthy, this is scary. I wouldn't want to play against that. If that man if his body will ever stay in a decent spot and he can be healthy for a full year, we got some good things there.
I agree. Now, real quick, Philip, want to say thank you, man. Philip, I got to give it to my man, Philip. He crushes it. He knows what he is talking about. He gave us a nice gift here. He said, Brunskill is a versatile backup. Who said that? I know it was you, Phil. You've talked about that forever. I think that Brunskill's starter quality for sure, but it's kind of jack of all trades guy, right? Like whether he's a center or a guard or a tackle, he's good, but he's not Pro Bowl level. At least he hasn't shown us that currently. So yeah, I love Brunskill. I think he's the third best offensive lineman we have. Maybe second.
That's fair. I'll just go third.
Yeah, Mcglinchey. I'd put Mcglinchey.
I'd put healthy Mcglinchey ahead of him. I've seen more consistent reps in pass pro sets out of Mcglinchey, even though that's his weakness, right? Just straight kick sliding back in pass pro sets is a problem for Mike. But I think third is about where it should be because we don't know what Banks is, and Banks didn't beat him out last year for the job. So,
right.
You can't necessarily give it to Banks yet. I'm not going to give it to Brendel. I just won't do it. I am I'm intrigued by what the Niners coaching staff sees in Brendel. I'm intrigued about what Forrester believes he can be in his system, especially since Forrester has coached him in multiple stops now, not just San Francisco. So what are your thoughts on this? Are you really, because I know this is a point of contention for a lot of the fan base.
Yeah.
Are you really that comfortable with a guy like Brendel going in to be the starting center for Trey Lance's rookie season, debut season, I guess, as the starting quarterback for the 49ers?
It bothers me a lot. And I really think that there's probably 2 to 3 positions that I feel exactly like this about: the center, the slot nickel, and the number 2 safety position, right? Which I'm a bigger Hufanga guy than most. And I don't think that that's as valuable a position as the other 2. Slot corner, Darqueze Dennard seems to have that spot locked down, took almost all the first team reps, whatever. Like, all right, cool. But then you look at Brendel, that scares the hell out of me. Now, the good news I will say, okay, you just need a stopgap. I don't think anybody believes Brendel's going to be a 3-year starter at center for the 49ers. I don't think that's it at all. They have so many bodies behind him. You know, they draft Nick Zakill, and you get Peter saying, oh, he has the athleticism and intelligence to play center for us. They draft Spencer Burford before that. Oh, he's a guy who could take snaps for us for sure. You've got Brunskill. Yeah, you know, he's played center in the past as well. You've got all these guys, but the problem I have is none of them took snaps in camp at all. They got them at guards. And so I feel like they're like, okay, we're going to have Brendel and we're going to have Brunskill. And so
it's crazy, John. It's crazy.
Hold.
It's crazy. It is crazy, John. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense, right? Burford, guard reps. I thought he would transition better to guard in the NFL. Like, that's what my thought process was watching him in the draft. He did some great things. Great things in college, especially at UTSA at the tackle position there, playing left tackle for him. It was good on film. I loved watching it, but thought, hey, he's probably going to translate better at the guard spot because there was some questionable stuff with pass pro. And in the run game, he's phenomenal. He's athletic. He gets up to second level. I love all that stuff about him. But questions there. Jaylen Moore. Yes, we saw some stuff at the tackle spot from him a little bit last year, but I mean, the talks were they're going to move this guy inside and he's going to be a guard for the Niners. It's like, okay, cool. So it's like, okay, who are the tackle options then? Is it McKivitz? Is it Justin Skule? Are those the guys who have the heads up and the Niners coaching staff just believes those 2 are locked in? Because if that's the case and the coaching staff believes those 2 are locked in, that doesn't leave a whole lot of room for really anybody else. Zakelj is in trouble at that point. Burford is in trouble at that point. Donovan West, you are on the practice squad, if not even on the roster, right? Jason Poe, nobody even knows what position he's really going to be playing.
Love me some Jason Poe, but
he's athletic as heck.
Not ready.
Not ready, though. You're right.
So here's my thing. If Brendel doesn't pan out, I think Brunskill slides over.
Agreed.
If Brunskill can't hold that, then you bring in a free agent or trade. You
have to.
And so, like, I feel like there's options. And again, you know, everybody wants to put out there J.C. Treader, who I respect and love and admire. He's incredible. I love what he does for the NFLPA, even though they lost a lot of teeth lately in that last CBA. But whatever, I digress. He's a guy that has been one of the most loud, outspoken people against OTAs, mini camps, and practicing in pads in what's it called? So, and this is a 30-year-old vet we're talking here.
With bad knees.
Still with bad knees. But he's sitting there, you know, break glass in case of emergency. So there's options there, but you're right. Here's the reason why I hate it. Trey Lance is stepping in, and you have not one new starter on the interior offensive line, but 2. Because as you mentioned earlier, Lakin walked, got paid. Happy for him. Love to see a man get paid. But
it's true.
Aaron Banks, that hurts. I
mean, we watched him in camp last year, and that first day, the live opening day in Levi Stadium, the open practice, first time fans are in Levi's, and since the pandemic and since shutdown and no fans in stadiums, and its energy's electric. There were thousands. I mean, there were thousands. It was loud as heck. And Aaron Banks got taken to school by Maurice Hurst. He got absolutely embarrassed on that day. And it was one of those things where we had a video before, like 2 or 3 days before, talking specifically about position battle, Brunskill v. Banks. And we're like, we're going to be at camp. We'll get a better idea of where he's at and how he's feeling and how he's looking and yada, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And you get worked by Maurice Hurst. You get worked by Maurice Hurst with the second unit, and that second team. But I felt bad for Banks because the second team D-line for the 49ers is a first-team D-line for most of the teams in the NFL. And you're coming in as a rookie going up against that. That's a problem. But it showed he wasn't ready.
And another thing, too, I've been a part coaching on some of those teams where it's like, look, if you get through practice against these guys, the games are going to be easier because you're not going against Bosa, Kinlaw, Armstead, and it just freaking cycling through these beasts. You just got to get through practice. Get through practice. The games are going to be easier. Now, I do want to say thank you. We're getting a lot of people talking about live and all that stuff. #CC. We got 2 giveaways coming up here in 2 weeks. We're giving away some t-shirts. We're giving away one to a #CC, the Countdown Crew. Love you guys. And then also giving away another t-shirt to any new subscriber in the last 40 days. So if you're one of those people that haven't hit subscribe yet, go ahead and hit subscribe. Be entered into a contest just to win a free t-shirt on us. And also, while you're at it, head over to 49ers Cutback channel, man. They are incredible. And you get to see this handsome devil live on there.
You're too nice, Sean.
And Coach Ant, man, go hit subscribe to these guys. We need it. We need it. Now, all right, here's one person I want to talk about that I don't hear people talking about often. That is none other than Keaton Sutherland, who is Jake Brendel 2.0 in my book, who came along with Forrester, has a couple starts at center. He took almost all the snaps with the second team during camp. Is he going to make the roster? Is he kind of Jake Brendel from last year to this year? Is he somebody that we can rely on, or is it just like, nah?
I listen. Here's the thing that's interesting. I saw you posted you've been posting your top players. You've been ranking them down. I think from like 90 all the way down.
Yeah, I think he's kicking my butt.
Dude, you are grinding, John. You are grinding on that. But I saw you had him at around 61, and I thought it was interesting because if I had thought about it, like legitimately thought about it and ranked these guys without having watched any mini camp, hadn't read any news, I wouldn't have put him that high. But you're kind of spot on here because he did take all the second team reps. And I think this is actually probably a dark horse position battle to watch throughout training camp is these two going at it, because there is absolutely no way that Jake Brendel has a stranglehold on that center job. There's no possible way that is reality. I don't believe that. And he's going to have some really bad reps in training camp. I think he's going to have some situations where the coaching staff's like, okay, maybe we need to get some first-team reps or just give an extended look here to whoever's behind him. And if Keaton Sutherland is the guy that's in fact number 2 behind that, then he's going to have an opportunity to compete. Maybe not even necessarily for a roster spot, but potentially compete for a starting job, which is
that's crazy.
It's crazy and concerning. And
I think one of the things that's crazy to me that's different for the 2022 49ers is how much authority and respect Chris Forrester has in the personnel room, right? So McDaniel leaves, LaFleur left a couple years ago, and all Shanahan's guys are gone. And, I could see the conversation going somewhere along these lines. All right, Chris, how do you feel at center if Mac retires? Oh, fine. I got my 2 guys. You sure? Yeah. I got Sutherland. I got Brendel. I'm happy. I've been working with them for 4 years. Let me have my guys. Trust me on this. And I'm just like, wait, well, hold on, coach. That's cool. You like those guys. Maybe we get somebody else. And Forster's just like, nah, man, we got it. We good. So
unless here's the thing, I hate to say this, but unless JC Treader is the actual play and they just know they're not getting this guy in before, training camp, OTA, like they know they can sign him a weekend and he'll be fine. That would be the only other thing I could think, because I've looked at the rest of the free agent class at the center spot. I've looked at it, and I mean I got it pulled up here as well because I like refreshing the memory. Matt Paradis, Nick Martin, Josh Andrews, BJ.
I like
Finney.
Nick Martin's a dark horse for me. He fits the scheme perfect, but always injured.
It's true. It's health. 49ers fans, not a big fan of players with health concerns, though. You get the potential for the fan base going, wait a minute.
At least we're consistent.
That's true. Brett Jones, Donnell Stanley. I don't see a name on here that I'm like, other than Treader is the only one that's been a fairly healthy, proven commodity that's done stuff in the league. Yeah. The problem is that he's got some knee concerns. He wants guaranteed money. You don't have a whole heck of a lot to spend. If you move off of Jimmy, maybe you have money. All of that stuff comes into it. That's the only thing I can think, though, is what you brought up with Forrester, is that Forrester has command of this room. He's got the confidence of the coaching staff, and he's told them, these are my guys. If Mac retires, this is what we're going with. And trust me, we'll be fine.
Okay, I like that. All right, this is an awesome question here from Freddie, and I'm going to simplify it just a little bit. He says, what rookie offensive line has the best chance to contribute as a starter? There's a lot of undrafted guys. Just in your opinion, Alex, Nick Sakill or Spencer Burford, which one gets to start first if you had to just make a guess off of your top of your head?
Burford. Of the two of them, Burford. I think they think Sakill has the biggest upside. I know they've been high on him. They were high on him last year. And we're going to draft him last year in a similar kind of spot, maybe even a little bit earlier, and he didn't come out. So you can't pull the trigger on a guy who's not available, not in the draft pool to choose from. So I think they love Nick Sakill. I think they think Nick Sakill needs a little bit of time. I think ideally they want him to go in at the center spot. And I think ideally they wanted a year under Mac. And then, okay, we can start playing around with this. If he needs another year, we got Brendel, who's kind of just sitting around here. You know, he's not going to command a whole heck of a lot of money. We can bring him back and keep rolling that direction until Sakill is ready to be the guy. Burford feels like the guy that they're higher on. They
drafted him higher. So that tells that story right there.
And they took Banks in the second round last year, sat him a year, right? And then now he's their guy. He's the replacement for Lincoln Tomlinson. And they're absolutely, per coaching staff, they're 100% comfortable with this because they weren't going to even come close to paying Tomlinson anywhere near that money. So they wanted to make this move. They were fine with making this move if that happened with Tomlinson. You'd have to think they're kind of doing the same sort of thing here with Burford. You would think if they were really in love with Jaylen Moore and his development and where he is, there's no reason to take Burford at that spot.
Man, that's okay. Okay, hold on. I want that awesome answers. First off, very, very well said. Jaylen Moore is a freaking joker card in a damn card game because they've got him taking number 2 reps at right guard, number 1 reps at right tackle. Like, what the hell, man?
That's what the Niners love. They love themselves some utility linemen, John. Come on now. They don't want a guy who does one thing. He has to do it all.
Okay, but here's my issue. Yeah, you're right. And it's the whole freaking Colton McKivitz 2.0 guy. My thing is I can talk myself into them believing Jaylen Moore is a starter right now. And I can also talk myself into believing Jaylen Moore might not make this roster.
Yes.
And
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, John. It makes no sense. I don't know. This is the funny thing. I was looking at other rosters throughout the league. I just because I'm looking at the Niners rosters and thinking to myself, it really does feel like potentially guys they drafted this year or even last year could end up not being on this roster. And I mean, if that happens, though, it's like another team is going to scoop these guys up, right? You're not going to get these guys to your practice squad until you start looking at some of these other rosters that are loaded with talent and realizing a lot of them did very similar things to San Francisco. They brought in a bunch of undrafted free agents that people thought were going to go either late or a little bit earlier in this last draft. They're loaded at certain positions. Certain guys are going to fall by the wayside, and it looks like talented players are going to get cut one way or the other, whether they were just drafted a few years ago, or they brought in free agency. And I'm sitting there going, this seems to be just there's an influx of talent right now because of COVID. The COVID pandemic pushed and delayed guys from coming into the draft and coming into the league. And now you have guys, loaded, talented rosters all across the league with young players and older players who still have a lot in the tank. And teams are going to have to basically make tough decisions. Do we go a little bit more veteran? Do we go young, talented, and make some sacrifices at certain positions? The Niners have typically done this at corner, right? We've seen the Niners at corner go in with unproven, untested guys at the cornerback position and found a way to make the formula work. They don't do that on the D-line. They have done it at the cornerback position. This year, not so much. This year, it looks like they're doing it at the safety spot. But maybe this is the year where the young guys are going to win out and the Niners stick with young, talented guys on the O-line. And we see the departures of guys like Justin Skule, Colton McKivitz not making this roster to make wave and open the door for these younger guys.
First team left tackle reps.
I know. And he could not make it.
All right, time out. Let's do this right now. Okay. I didn't tell – I would plan on doing this. Last year, the 49ers kept 8 offensive linemen on their initial 53. Okay, let's play. Let's do this. All right, Alex, you're my GM. Oh, I'm the annoying-ass owner, right? That's just entitled. Not that Jed York is that. That's not what I was saying. I wasn't trying to go there.
We love you, Jed.
But I like Jed. Jed's cool. All right, you get 8 offensive linemen.
Don't
Alex.
Do this to me.
We're doing this. I'm typing. I'm keeping track, and I'm going to hold you to this. Come August, whenever it's cut down day, and I'm going to tweet this out. I'm going to at you. I'm going to at your parents. I want to add everybody, and I'm holding you to it. All right, let's go. Okay, Trent Williams, he's making it, right?
Yes.
All right, that's one. Who's next?
After that is Mike Mcglinchey. A healthy Mike Mcglinchey. I guess we have to put that caveat, right? If he's healthy to start the season, he's making it. Otherwise, he's on IR.
So if he's on IR because the injury happened last year, he would go on the PUP and wouldn't count for a roster spot. Is that what you're saying? Are you cheating already?
No, I mean, I don't want to cheat. So listen, I don't want to sliding scale this. One of the guys, we joke about one of the guys on our podcast sliding scale all the time with everything. I'm just going to say healthy Mike Mcglinchey. So we got Trent Williams, Mike Mcglinchey. Those are your tackles. Those are your bookends.
Okay. All right. Keep going. That's two.
Left guard, going to be Aaron Banks.
Lock.
Right guard is going to be Daniel Brunskill.
Lock.
Can't believe I'm saying this. Center is going to be Jake Brendel.
Okay.
So there's your five. That's your first five. And that leaves me three guys. So I have these guys kind of tiered out. I have a handful
He's got
of guys.
notes. Do you see he's looking at his notes? This dude's prepared. I didn't tell him I was asking this.
I got three monitors here. So, I mean, in theory, I have way more notes on the screen, but I'm only using two of the three. I swear. So then after that, I have them kind of tiered out. So I only have three spots left. So as of right now, these are the three guys I believe are going to make it based on just what I've seen and what I believe the Niners are going to do, this is crazy. All right, John, ready for this? This is crazy. Justin Skule, Colton McKivitz, and Jaylen Moore. Those are the three guys who make it, and that means you have Spencer Burford and Nick Zakelj not making this active roster, which makes absolutely no sense, John. It makes no sense at all whatsoever. I don't know how else to break this down. I think Spencer Burford has the chance to make it. I think he's the most ready of the guys they drafted this year, like at the line spots.
Whoa.
But why do you bring back Justin Skule in? Here's the only other thing I could see is Skule or McKivitz, again, doing the same thing they did last year, right? Where they sneak one of them or both of them onto the practice squad, don't have them do a lot during training camp, in games and things like that, and just kind of hide them away, sneak them onto the practice squad, and then keep Spencer Burford and Nick Zakelj on the active roster because they can.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. Okay. So the idea of Nick Zakelj and Spencer Burford not making the 53-man roster.
It'd be nuts. But I could see it happening, especially if Skule, because Skule was, going into last year, he was supposed to be the swing tackle. He was the guy, right? And he gets to the injury. If he comes back and he's healthy and he's anywhere close to being what they thought he was going to be, how does he not make this roster? Colton McKivitz at the end of last year, Colton McKivitz was the guy they turned to in week 18. Colton McKivitz was the guy they turned to.
Yeah, everybody was upset about that one.
Listen, I was baffled. I couldn't understand it, but they won the football game. It wasn't pretty from him. It wasn't great, but he did enough.
There's no way Spencer Burford gets cleared on the freaking waivers, right?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. But this
he
is
got drafted in the fourth round.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. You wouldn't think. But it's one of those things is I don't know what else to do with it because if I'm going based on somebody. If I'm going based on what I in my mind, what I know about the Niners, I know they were high on Skule. If Skule returns anywhere close to form, I don't think it's a competition. I don't think there's anyone close that they feel can be that guy.
You know what? I'm going to cheat. Okay, I'm the owner. I get to be a D-bag. I get to.
It's also your show. It's your show. You get to cheat. So
here's what I'm going to say. Okay, if this is the case, if Alex the GM brings me this, I'm going to say, what the hell, man? Why did we spend our 4th round pick and you're just going to cut him? So here's what I'm going to say. Okay. Let's find another position group. We already know we're keeping some for D-line. We're going to keep an extra one for O-line. So here we go. Let's work it backwards. Again, we didn't talk about this. All right, GM. Go back to your room. What two positions are we keeping one less of? Go.
Running back. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Safety.
Ooh, I thought you were going to go wide receiver.
No, they'll go safety. I think if they did that, they would go safety. And I could see them doing this. I could see
that
them
means
keeping
Tarvarius Moore is getting cut. That means Tarvarius Moore would get cut. You're not cutting Odom because he got all that guaranteed money. You can't cut Hufanga.
But I can see that too because Tarvarius Moore's coming off the Achilles. He's coming off the big injury. I mean, if they don't feel he's there, if they don't feel he's right, I mean, they could decide to go a different direction with it.
Gosh. So, all right, now we got to work. We got to work forward now. Now you got an extra O-line. You got to keep one more guy. It's Spencer Burford, right?
It's Burford. It's not close. I mean, it's Spencer Burford. For me, it's Burford.
Which means we're cutting Nick Zakelj, and that means I've got
sneaking him on the practice squad.
Whew. Yeah, that's rough. And okay, so last thing, running backs. That means you're only keeping 3.
4 technically, because you'd be keeping the use check if you count use check
yeah.
in the running back room. But Ant and I have had this conversation, and I do think
Yeah.
this is something
Good
that could
conversation.
It
I
could
think y'all have
happen.
handled it well.
It could happen.
For people who perhaps haven't caught that show, which if you haven't, come on, shame on you. Get over there, 49ers Cutback. You ain't going to be wrong, guys. You ain't going to be wrong. All right, so your 3 running backs that you keep besides use check.
I mean, you got Elijah Mitchell, right? You have Jeff Wilson Jr., and then you have TDP.
Moving on from the 3rd round pick that you traded up for last year.
That didn't work out. I mean, it's obvious he didn't work out. It's clear as day to anyone who's been watching how they've used running backs and how what they trust Trey Sermon to do, that they just don't trust him. They don't trust him. And listen, I don't think Trey Sermon's a bad running back. I just don't think he fits what the Niners want their running backs to do. He doesn't put his foot in the ground. He doesn't get vertical. He's not a one-cut go guy.
Well, what about him losing weight, working on his footwork?
It's true. All those things are nice. It's got to translate, though. And here's the problem. It didn't translate last year with Turner, with Turner back there coaching him. Now, Anthony Lynn has done a lot of great things in this league with running backs. So maybe this is the guy that could be the whisperer in his ear and get him to turn the corner and be that guy. Maybe.
I think the biggest hit to Trey Sermon is right after the draft press conference when they drafted TDP, and you had Shanahan and Lynch both said 1-2 punch. We want a 1-2 punch. And it's just
have a 1-2 punch with Trey Sermon.
The whole time I was like, dude, Trey Sermon's watching this. Like, y'all are murdering this dude. And then you got Anthony Lynn up there talking about, oh, well, we wanted 2 guys. And it's just like, oh, they just kept swinging on this dude. So, and it's very similar to what they were doing to Ayuk, all through training camp. This kind of, all right, let's go through the public. Let's see if this dude wants it.
It's interesting how they've played this, because I wasn't Ant and I both on draft day last year were not big. We were not big on this. I remember we had you on not too long after that, and you were selling us on the idea of both him and Mitchell. I thought Mitchell was.
I got half right.
Hey, you were half right on it. And when we left training camp the first day, Ant was all over Elijah Mitchell, literally all over Elijah Mitchell. Like, I was sitting there going, "Look, I get what you're saying. All the points that he was making, I was like, I understand what you're saying, but he was running with the 3rd team. Can we?" Because he was literally on the live stream in the parking lot afterwards. He was the best running back at camp today, and I was like, whoa. I was like, hyperventilating, like, oh my God, are we sure about this? And then you get to week 1 and it's fruition, right? It's apparent to everybody, and you understand why. And Ant was seeing it before a lot of people were seeing it. Shoot, I saw what he was talking about, but I was like, can we pump the brakes a little bit? Because I've seen this before as a coach. You've seen that before as a coach. Ant's seen it before as a coach. You get a guy out there with certain people in certain groups, and he kills. And the minute you get him out there with someone else, something in that head just clicks. The switch turns off, and he doesn't perform the same way that you just saw, against lower level competition. So I was like, I want to wait to see. And then week 1 happened. It was like, all right, you were right. This is the dude. He is the guy right now. Trey Sermon has not been that guy when he's had the ball in his hand.
Bobo, thank you so much, my friend, for the gift. He said, we need all 5 running backs for sure because they drop like flies. One name I will throw out to you, Mason. Jordan Mason. Okay. This dude is here's what's sad. Maybe not sad. You remember where we had 3 straight years of everybody having their favorite undrafted free agent running back, where we were all fell in love with them and this is the guy. And it started with Matt Breida and all that stuff. Mason's flying under the radar because we have Elijah Mitchell, because we have TDP, because we had the guy last year, the value-wise or draft-wise, Trey Sermon. Y'all need to pay attention to Mason because, and I think this is a reason why the 49ers might be able to get lucky and only have 3, much like our GM Alex here set up for us, is because you can slide Mason in. He was an undrafted free agent. You can slide him in and be on that practice squad, and that dude, he's TDP light. And I mean, he's exactly the same body style, running type, all those things. Actually has more workload than TDP had at LSU at Georgia Tech. So you can keep some of those guys around, I think. I don't know. Do you agree there?
Yes, actually, this was actually the point I was making when we talked about this a little bit, was I am not willing to put any eggs in the Jordan Mason basket right now because I haven't seen it like in person. Haven't physically got to watch it with my eyes. So it's one of those things where it's like I have his name written down, it's highlighted, there's a star next to it, and it's like we need to pay very close attention when we get into camp because his progress could actually determine what they decide to do at the running back room. Because if he is showing all the flashes that people were talking about and OTAs and everything with the early stuff with the rookies, then hey, you know what? Maybe you can get away with 3 guys early in the season, put this guy in the practice squad, let him sit there very quietly and work on his craft, get better, work with this group, give the Niners defense a good look in practices. And if something happens to one of your running backs during the season, hey, this is not a big deal because if this were any other year, we would have had this guy on the 53-man roster. But because it was this specific year with the O-line the way it was, we shored our bets up with the O-line. We hit this guy away, and we can call this guy up now and feel really great about our running back room.
And I think another thing that's important is we'll get to see this play out because here's the issue with the preseason. You got to run the ball. And so you don't cut running backs 100%. On the first or second cut. You don't because you got to have those back end guys carry the ball. So we're going to see. You're going to get to see it. And it's going to play out. Oh, Zachary, this is maybe the best endorsement I've ever had in my career, my short career. Thank you, Zachary. He says, great thing about being a creator of content, you only have to be right half of the time. I'll take it, baby.
No lies in that statement. There's no lies in that statement.
I will take it. I'm going to make a shirt out of that. I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to sell that. 49ers Rush podcast. Right half the time.
Half the time.
Now, Alex, before we jump out of here, this has been incredible, man. We got to do this more often, man.
Absolutely.
This is just too good. This is just too good. I'm just being selfish here for myself. I want more.
It's not selfish. It's fun, man. I'm having a blast. This is good times.
Now, Alex, you guys are I think one of the reasons why I like you guys so much is how interactive you are with the community. Your listeners / subscribers, you guys do a lot of interaction with your Patreon, which we do as well. But you guys, can you talk through some of the stuff you guys are offering on your Patreon right now?
Absolutely. So look, Patreon's got a little bit of everything. Patreon's kind of it's an additional content platform, but it's also a test platform. We try a lot of new things out over there. So right now we got a couple of shows going, hit or miss, essentially listening to the 49ers community. They put out songs, music, different songs, anthems, things of that nature. And both Ant and Heather, his sister, go through a lot of those. And basically, is the song a hit or is it a miss? They go through, listen to it, have a good time with it. It's a lot of fun. Slightly offsides with Horst, one of the original OG members of the 49ers Cutback, him and Ant talking in a variety of different topics related to the 49ers and just football in general. We also have 49ers Cutback in Time over there where we go back into the past 49ers history, great moments, franchise turning events and talk those things over and discuss it. That's me, Horst, and Ant typically who are doing those. And there's been a lot of stuff over there, including all 22 film breakdowns and things of that nature and Madden gameplays as well. So we do some Madden stuff over there as well, fantasy football. So a lot of different things over on Patreon, man. It's kind of loaded.
I freaking love it, man. Well, if you haven't already, I know you enjoyed the show. That was some great content. And, it's funny. I listened to Draymond Green's. Are you a basketball guy? You're a basketball guy?
So, I don't know if you can see it back there. And let's just get this right here. So that
I see the boot. I see the bootios.
Oh, yeah, the bootios, man. They make sure you're not. They make sure you're not booty, John. But that top shelf there is actually a bunch of stuff from the last program I coached at. Same thing on that shelf there with the Paige
so cool, man. There.
So I was actually
Paige,
one of my all-time favorite Kings, man. But before I actually started doing the pod with Ant, that's what I was doing. I was a varsity basketball coach at a high school in Stockton where we live. So.
Look at this dude. One of my favorite things, I'm not a Warriors guy. I'm a Mavs guy. I'm from Dallas, right? But in his new podcast, he talks about how it's so easy to get on and there's so much stuff to talk about. If you know the sport and you can analyze the sport and you can educate others because there's so much there whenever you dive into the actual game and you don't have to do all the drama and the hot takes and all that stuff. And here we are, the end of June, in what is quote unquote the dead period of sports. And we just had a 40-minute conversation diving into scheme and, 53-man rosters and practice squad. And I just want to say thank you, Alex, for what you guys do for the community, because I think this is episode, like we're on like video 570 something. I learned today. And that's what it's about, increasing the fan experience, increasing the knowledge in the community. So, Alex, thank you. Go give this guy a follower if you haven't already. Alex, is there anything you want to say before we jump off this show?
Other than thank you, John, because I mean, listen, when we first started this, there were a handful of guys I listened to. You were one of them. You were one of the guys that I went to personally for content. I know Ant did as well. So you've given us a lot of sort of inspiration and motivation to keep going, and you've always supported this channel, and we're extremely appreciative of that. So everyone that's here, Countdown Crew, show this man some love because he has been grinded for you nonstop for as long as I can remember, You're one of the good ones, John. We appreciate it.
I appreciate that, man. At least I'm right half the time, which is my only goal.
And that's it. That's it right there. You've done it.
Man.
You've made the mountaintop, John, just for that.
Half the time. All right, Alex, thanks again. And for everybody else out there, stay strong, faithful.